How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, the show where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, I'm going to be discussing Justin Fields' performance yesterday and whether or not it makes sense to keep starting him for the rest of the 2021 season. Fields had a pretty good game yesterday in the 24-14 win over the Detroit Lions. I'm going to be breaking it down for you guys and talking about whether or not Matt Nagy should go back to play calling and also go back to Andy Dalton as the starting quarterback. Before I get into this one, I would like to say, if you haven't already, do us a favor, drop a like, subscribe, follow if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube. I am alone by myself today, but normally I'm with my co-hosts and we bring you guys content each and every day. So if you want Bears content each and every day, do us a favor, drop a like and subscribe. And we're going to be bringing you everything that you need to know this week about the Week 5 game with the Raiders and much more. I am your host, Chris Maltby. Today, I'm here to break down Justin Fields' performance. He had quite the day yesterday. And now that we have some more advanced analytics, we can break it down a little bit more and talk about how good he really was, even though he wasn't able to get into the red zone. A lot of objective eyes would say that Justin Fields probably should be the starter for the rest of the season, so I'm going to be debunking it all for you guys. The Bears have a tough stretch of games coming up with the Raiders, the 49ers, the Packers, the Buccaneers, the Steelers. So there's a lot of important games coming up, and the Bears want to be competitive, and we want, obviously, the best quarterback to be out there. So we're going to be breaking it all down for you today, but before we get into this one, let's get to today's sponsored message from our 2021-2022 season partners over at CBDX. Guys, CBDX.com is not your average CBD company. We've all tried CBD at one point in our lives. None of it is the real deal, but CBDX is. They also ship right to your front door. Right now, our listeners get 20% off their orders at CBDX.com with promo code BD. They make delicious gummies, amazing flour, and tremendous cartridges. All products look, smell, taste, and feel the same. All of them actually work. CBDX.com is the future. Go to CBDX.com today and enter promo code BD for 20% off all orders and a free gift from the team at CBDX. CBDX loves football. That's why they're here sponsoring us today. So show CBDX some love and go support the show today. A little tongue twister, my bad. 20% off your order and a free gift when our listeners use promo code BD at CBDX.com. The link is down in the description to them and our other sponsors this season. Thank you so much for sponsoring. Now let's get right back into the podcast. All right, it's what everyone wants me to talk about, I'm sure, this week. Coming off of a win, a victory Monday for the Bears. Definitely feels good to have gotten that one done yesterday against the Lions. Things could have gotten very messy otherwise. But I'm here to talk about Justin Fields, how I think he performed, how he looked, and talk about whether or not I think he should be the play caller or he should be the quarterback moving forward. We're also going to talk about Matt Nagy and his future as the Bears play caller. But let's start here. What did I think of Justin Fields' performance yesterday? Man, I thought he was darn good. He had one turnover throughout the entirety of the game on a pass that was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Not sure exactly who tipped it for the Detroit Lions, but that was the only one real mistake I would say he had. He held on to the ball a little bit long a couple of times, and that's something that he's just going to have to get in more of a groove of getting it out or using his legs to scramble. But, you know, he was 5 for 7 for 172 yards yesterday on passes that traveled 15-plus yards downfield through the air. I remember in week 1, the Bears only had one pass that traveled 15-plus yards through the air. 45% of Fields' completions yesterday were 15-plus yards downfield. Now, hence, he only did have 11 completions on 20 passes. But 72% of his passes were caught by Allen Robinson or Darnell Mooney, and 188 of his 206 passing yards were to one of the Bears' top 2 wide receivers. Fields had 12.3 yards per completion yesterday. Obviously, if you divide 206 by the 11 completions he had, I believe that's 19 yards per completion or on average, but 12.3 yards per completion with how the completions actually spelled out. He wasn't able to pass the ball much. The Bears didn't let him really get into a groove of things, but it was quite the performance by him. We saw him put the biscuit in the basket, as Gus Johnson said yesterday. We saw Fields, per Pro Football Focus standards, actually rack up 4 big-time throws in yesterday's game. Why is that important? He leads the league in big-time throws, and he had 4 of them yesterday. He's not scared to push the ball downfield. We saw it evident yesterday. He's going to get the ball to your playmakers. Darnell Mooney, someone who hadn't really taken off in the deep passing game. We saw him have a 32-yard catch yesterday, a 64-yard catch yesterday, and have his first 100-plus receiving yard game with the Bears as Fields at quarterback. Now, I'd like to see Chicago get Allen Robinson going a little bit more, but hey, man, Fields was awesome. In the first quarter, he came out strong, 4 for 4, 93 passing yards, also 11 rushing yards. It was a great day for him. So overall, yesterday I was really happy with Fields' performance. I'd like to see him use his legs maybe a little bit more just because he draws so much attention from the defense when he gets outside the pocket. We saw him have a Russell Wilson-like spin move on a play yesterday, and he probably would have had a 25, 30-yard completion to Cole Kmet had the tight end out of Notre Dame, second-year tight end, not fallen down on the play. So Justin Fields really showed his escapability yesterday. I'd like to see him use it a bit more, but overall, the Bears got him outside of the pocket more. The play action looked really nice. Overall, I was really happy with how the 11th overall pick played. So kudos to him. I was really happy about that. And now it turns into a really interesting discussion with Andy Dalton, someone who, good for him. I'm happy for him. I never want anyone to be injured. Andy Dalton is pointing upwards in terms of returning to play, but the question is, should the Bears go back to him or not? Now, Dalton, we saw him play a pretty good game up until, when he went down against the Cincinnati Bengals. We saw some silly mistakes in the Week 1 loss against the Los Angeles Rams. So the Bears head to Las Vegas this week. They're going to be playing a Raiders team. And by the way, we're not doing Meet the Opponents now. You'll see that tomorrow because they obviously play the Chargers tonight on Monday Night Football. But they're heading to Las Vegas to play a team that might be undefeated or only a one-loss team. So we have to talk about what's best for the Bears. Matt Nagy reiterated this morning to reporters and to the media that if he's healthy, Dalton is going to be the guy. I simply don't buy that. The Bears, throughout their history, have been a team that have acted different from what they've said for quite some time, with the whole Mike Glennon-Trubisky thing, committing to Glennon and then going to Trubisky after 4 weeks of the season. With how Fields played yesterday, I just don't see how you can go back to Andy Dalton. And it's nothing against him. I think Andy Dalton's a great guy, a great teammate. But Justin Fields, I mean, you can just see the difference between the type of play that this offense gets when Dalton versus Fields are on the field. We see everyone rejuvenated when Fields is out there, spreading the ball around a lot more. The offense just looks a lot more tooled up when Fields is in there. And maybe, the Bears will lose some games committing to Fields. Dalton's someone who's a pretty solid game manager and will dink and dunk around a little bit. But that's something you take with risking playing a rookie quarterback. Dalton doesn't get the explosive plays that Justin Fields has yesterday. Andy Dalton isn't going to have the big-time throws that Justin Fields had yesterday. We just see a different offense out there with Fields on the field. I think he's ready to play. He showed it last week. Obviously, that Week 3 loss in Cleveland was not a good example of what he's really able to succeed when the Bears use him at his full ability. But it was nice to see Bill Lazor calling plays last week. We're going to get into that in just a second. But overall, I think if you're the Bears, you've already put 2 solid weeks into Fields. You don't want to be detrimental to his success coming off of a big divisional win that the Bears absolutely needed, benching him and saying, hey, you can't go out there and play again coming off of a really good week. So overall, I got to be honest, I think putting back in Dalton, I don't know why Nagy feels some personal vendetta to do this, because I said it earlier, anyone with an objective set of eyes realizes that Justin Fields should be the quarterback for this team. So beats me why the Bears want to go back to Dalton. I think everyone needs to calm down a little bit and just see how this week progresses. I think the Bears will probably announce their starting quarterback around Wednesday. That seems like what Matt Nagy wanted to do. But overall, I'd love to see another week of Fields. If he can perform anything like he did last week, maybe the Bears can have a chance to upset the Raiders. They're 4-point underdogs right now in Week 5. But this offense is a lot better with Justin Fields on the field. Maybe you're taking some risks, and you have to realize that he's going to make some rookie mistakes. But Matt Nagy, you were begging everyone to go up and get this guy. You wanted your quarterback to be here. The Bears traded up, gave up a first-round pick next year to get to 11th overall to get him. Now he's in the building. You absolutely have to play him. Let's move on to one more thing before we sign off here, talking a little bit about the play calling. Bill Lazor obviously was the one calling plays yesterday. What did you make of the play calling in week 4, man? It just looked a lot better. We know Bill Lazor loves his play action pass, and it works well with what Justin Fields does. It makes the defense bite from time to time on runs. We saw the Bears have a successful run game yesterday. David Montgomery had 4.6 yards per carry, 106 rushing yards. It looks like he's going to be okay. Maybe we'll only miss a few weeks. And we also saw Damian Williams get heavily involved in the action. So overall, Lazor opening up the play action pass gave the Bears a lot better of an opportunity to run in some events when the Lions thought that Fields was going to be holding on to the ball and throwing it deep or looking for someone like Darnell Mooney once again. Overall, I liked the play calling a lot more. The offense looked night and day to how it did in week 3 when Bill Lazor was calling plays. So similar to how I think the Bears shouldn't go back on Justin Fields, I don't think you should go back on Bill Lazor either. Unfortunately, that's not a decision for me to make, and Matt Nagy honestly probably has a little bit of an ego problem, but if something ain't broke, you don't fix it. That's something that I learned as a kid. That's something that everyone knows. The Bears offense, they're not a team that's going to compete with the best teams in the league, and that's why I think this upcoming week's going to be a tough one, but we'll see what the Raiders come in looking like. But if it isn't broke, don't fix it. You have to do what you have to do at quarterback, at play caller, what gives this team the best chance to win. So overall, I liked Bill Lazor. The Bears were 1 for 8 on third down yesterday. I think that's 1 point that I'd like them to improve on moving forward. I believe they're only 43% on third down this year as a team. And then also one more thing, get your tight ends a little bit more involved. Jimmy Graham has 1 reception for 3 yards and is eating up $5.34 million in cap space. So I'd like to see him get his tight ends a little bit more involved, something that we'd see a little bit more generally from Matt Nagy. But overall, I think the offense was flowing a lot better yesterday. Regardless of who's at running back, regardless of who's at quarterback, you have to keep Bill Lazor as the play caller because he doesn't get cute nearly as much as Matt Nagy. And overall, the offense just has a lot more flow and unpredictability to it when Lazor is the one calling plays. So before you go, if you're listening in on YouTube right now, do me a favor, drop down in the comments who you guys think should be the Bears quarterback and offensive coordinator in week 5. I think there's going to be a lot of Fields and Lazor in the comments. And if you're listening in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe, follow. We're going to be bringing you guys week 5 coverage starting tomorrow with meeting the Las Vegas Raiders and Bears content throughout the rest of the week. We want to bring you guys the most comprehensive coverage on the web. That's how we like to diversify ourselves. And we're going to keep pounding and grinding for you guys if you continue to show the support. If you want more content from us, head to our website, bearddown.com. If you'd like to find the podcast on Instagram or Twitter, you can find it at Beared Down. We're going to be giving away a Justin Fields giving away a Justin Fields jersey this week. Sorry, it's hard to ramble on doing these alone for quite some time. We're going to be giving away a Justin Fields jersey on social media, though, this week, so please be sure to go follow the podcast on social media. It's a great way to see what we're doing and keep stay in the loop with us. And finally, man, I'm burning out here. You can find all of my social media pages down in the description, my Instagram and Twitter pages. It's a great way to interact with me, and you can see my thoughts on all things Bears, the National Football League, and the entirety of Chicago sports with the Blackhawks, the Bulls rolling back around. The Chicago Sky are about to be in the WNBA Finals. That's super sick. And also, White Sox playoff baseball starts really soon. So be sure to check me out on social media. And that's pretty much it, man. Bears are 2-2. I really hope they can make the educated decisions to put themselves in the best chance to win these next couple of weeks because this schedule does not get any easier. Justin Fields, Bill Lazor, make it happen. It needs to happen. Guys, it's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby, and Bears fans, as always, stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one, meeting the Las Vegas Raiders tomorrow, and that's pretty much it for me. Peace out.